As a Christian, how do you justify campaigning for someone who was found civilly liable for sexual abuse?
First of all, we as conservatives believe that that was like a Moscow show trial. It made no sense. But let's pretend you're right, because I don't want to get too far into the details. But let's pretend that President Trump was guilty of sexual abuse. Is there any example of somebody in the Bible that was guilty of doing something bad that still was after God's own heart? David would be the most obvious. A second example, of course, would be Samson. God came to him when he was in a prostitute's bed, but God called Samson for a purpose greater than his and used the jaw of a donkey to go kill, thousands of Philistines. What I'm getting at is we are all sinners that fall short of the glory of God, and God can use imperfect vessels for righteous and good causes, of which I think he used Donald Trump to help save the country.
What a horrifying take. For context, that was on the American Comeback Tour on March 13th, 2025. And the whole video is on Real Charlie Kirk YouTube channel. It's called Charlie Kirk versus the Wokies at University of Tennessee. I grew up very Christian. I went to Catholic school from kindergarten all the way through 12th grade. I went through the major sacraments, baptism, reconciliation, First Holy Communion, confirmation. I went to church every weekend. I paid attention in mass. I paid attention in religion class. I learned that yes, somebody can commit the most atrocious acts, and if they repent and confess their sins to God, God can forgive them. That person can go to heaven and spend eternity with God. But while that person is still on earth, they have to deal with the earthly consequences of their actions. Whether that's a trial and or jail time and or life sentence and or fall from public grace. Just as some examples. Confession and absolution can absolutely save your soul and your life in that way. And that's between that person and God. I don't know what's happening there. But they're not get out of earthly jail free cards. So Charlie presented this scenario and he said he didn't give a flying about sexual assault. He said he would have campaigned for Trump even if he was 100% sure that that man had committed sexual assault. And he shouldn't have to face any repercussions for his actions because Charlie had come to the conclusion that he was a man after God's own heart. Okay, so this is where when certain individuals blame entire groups of people, such as gay people, trans people, immigrants, saying that they commit sexual assault and that's why they need to be deported, that's why they can't be allowed to transition, things like that. They do not care about SA and victims of SA, as we just saw in Charlie Kirk's scenario. What they care about is demonizing other people, othering them, putting all of the bad traits and bad qualities on a specific group of people so that they can get away with whatever they want. For example, here's a clip from when Donald Trump announced his first presidential run in 2015.
When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people. It's coming from more than Mexico. It's coming from all over South and Latin America, and it's coming probably from the Middle East. But we don't know because we have no protection and we have no competence. We don't know what's happening.
So you don't know what's happening, but you're really quick to say that many Mexicans are rapists. You think also Central and Latin American countries in general fall into the same category. Oh, and people from the Middle East. So specifically brown immigrants. This is a strong example of how the patriarchy and white supremacy lean against each other to hold each other up, to support each other. Because when people are busy demonizing everybody who's brown, who's an immigrant, then people are distracted from or ignore or don't believe the atrocious acts being committed right under their noses or just behind the curtain. And finally, one of the things I hate the most about this video is watching this couple in the background. It's a young man and a young woman, and it's just so sad to see how Charlie influenced these students across the country to really minimize SA.